Hello there. As you can maybe see, it is kind of a rainy day. It's actually warm out though, and I am long overdue for an updated garden tour. So while I'm getting rained on, we're just going to take a quick rainy day garden tour. I will show you what's going on in the garden slash jungle because it's completely wild right now. So let's take a look. So you can see my paths are very much overgrown. I had been tilling it and keeping up pretty well. We went on vacation, everything exploded, then we've just been non-stop busy since we got back, and then I hurt my neck and just doing a bunch of other things. So of course the weeds just take this place over like crazy. My zinnia patch right here is blooming. It looks great. Here's my asparagus. There's my strawberries. I did have that whole patch weeded, so it's really annoying that it's completely back to that again. I've got peppers going, if I can find some. Some of these have flowered a lot but don't have a lot of fruits yet, and then some of them have quite a bit going on. So those are jalapenos. The peppers did not. Some of these really didn't get that big, and I'm just thinking too much shade. That's okay. First year in this garden, I gotta figure stuff out. This is the banana pepper plant, which is for my daughter. They're pretty happy. She's been snacking on those. This walkway has been completely kind of overrun by the tomatoes. And then I had a squash coming through it. But I pulled up that garlic, which was in this section. That's my weed pile. Isn't that terrible? So I've kind of rerouted the butternut squash to come in here where the garlic was. My gladiolas flopped over really badly. I'm guessing it's because I put a layer of dirt on top of the clay and planted them in that. So I think they just were not deep enough. So I'm gonna refigure that out next year. Oh, of course it's raining harder now. Oh, all the craziness again. The tomatoes and these are doing really well. These tomatoes are doing well. This is why I do not like using tomato cages, guys, because they go so far beyond the cages, and the cages actually make it a lot harder to harvest. I like them over like on that fence that I'll show you, or on a cattle panel. This is butternut squash, and then I have some summer squash. And here I have another little zinnia patch, my elderberries. Let's go back over this way. See, my paths are so overgrown. My grow tower is doing okay. This is the dill. It's done. I didn't harvest all of it. I was trying to see if some would go to seed. And parsley and rosemary and more parsley and mint that I grow for my daughter. But yeah, these are very sad. All of the, I think this is anise hyssop or hyssop anise. I don't really know, but I love it. It self-seeds everywhere and it's just gorgeous, and the bees love it. And these little roses are trying to bloom again. If I slip and fall, it's because this is very slippery. More dahlias. Ooh, I need a deadhead badly. Oops. I've been working on weeds and not deadheading my flowers. This climbing rose is happy. This clematis got pinched off a few times. Elderberries are about ready to harvest. I don't even know if I will because there's not a ton this year. Just a few handfuls on this particular plant. So I'm not sure if I'm going to let him go. These I planted nasturtiums and cucamelons in. The nasturtiums have done really well. The cucamelons, not so much, which I kind of figured, but I wanted to try it. I don't think I'll get any cucamelons this year. There's a teeny tiny one, but I don't think he's got enough time to do anything. One, lack of sun, and two, I haven't really kept up on watering this as good as I should. So this is how I like my tomatoes. I would have used the cattle panel, but I didn't have any and they're expensive, and I had this piece of non-climb fencing left over from when we put up the run for my horses. So I just kind of tie to it with this thicker baling twine as they grow, and then I try and trim off leaves that are touching the ground. As you see, I need to come through and tie more up. It's a constant kind of keep tying, keep trimming the bottom for airflow and just the health of the plants. And then the tops I let go crazy, but you can see everything really nicely. It's easier to find your tomatoes. These rose bushes all bloomed again, but unfortunately this type of year when they bloom, we get these darn Japanese beetles and they just destroy them. I feed them, the beetles, to the chickens. The sweet potatoes, oh my gosh, are going so far. They're way over here. They're way over there. I've never seen my sweet potatoes branch out that far, so they're really happy here. They haven't really anchored in a lot of places, so I'll be curious to see how many they actually grow. And then here's my tomato grow bags, which those look huge too. I'm not going to get as big of a harvest as I could have for how big these plants are because the grow bags aren't that big, but that's okay. I still have my little things in pots that need to be planted. I'm being terrible about that. Your dahlia tipped over. But all of these dahlias are doing really well. They look beautiful. Look at that guy, he's cool. I do have, if I can find the end of him, aha. Here's my delicata squash, has sneaked through some of these pots. The dahlia that I had in here died, so I took it out and put in a marigold. This dahlia has not done anything yet. See, there's little baby squashes. So cute. So over here I had radishes and green beans. Yeah, it's all weeds, but also they just didn't do well. They didn't do anything, so I'm kind of over them for this year and kind of let them go to weeds. And my pumpkins are kind of growing through them. Obviously I really need to till again. Here's my other little piece of non-climb fence that I use for my cucumbers, which has been working well. And then my pumpkin plant came and decided to snake through it. This is all a pumpkin plant. There's one pumpkin on it. So I'll be curious to see what that does. Hi, chicken. You're so wet. I can't even tell which chicken you are. You're so dirty. I think that is Tiger Lily. Chicken, chicken, chicken. She looks like a drowned rat. My sunflowers didn't get as big as I thought they would. They're pretty much full sun here, but I'm going to say I crowded them together too much. Because see, there's like 1, 2, 3, and they suck a lot of stuff out of the soil, so they kind of need space. And here's my okra. I do have plants. I don't know that I'm going to get anything again. I got them out late. I let them get overrun by weeds. I'm being a terrible gardener this year, guys. Like, bad. Here I have a pretty little row of marigolds that's supposed to be in front of my corn patch. Oh, look. It's the saddest corn patch in the history of corn patches that there ever was. So, problems with this. Seeds didn't germinate well. I honestly think that little critters were in here stealing them. And then, when they started growing, the little baby corn looks exactly like whatever type of grass Dan has here when they start out. And I have terrible eyesight, like it's bad. So I couldn't tell the difference for the longest time. So when I'd weed, I'd be weeding, and pull up a corn, which would make me mad. And then I'd quit. And then it just, I mean, I had weeds that were taller than this corn. So I'm kind of getting it under control now. I'm assuming I'm going to get a few small ears of corn. And then, I don't know, I might not be growing corn here again. If I can't keep up with the weeds to be able to tell the difference, it just takes up a big spot of the garden. So I'm not sure it's worth it. At the other house, I grew fabulous corn, but it was sand and the corn was able to take off a lot faster than the weeds. And then once I kind of knocked the weeds back there, they didn't grow again. That's not the case here. You knock all the weeds down, they're going to come back 2 days later and they grow fast. So that's annoying. This little melon, I think it's a cantaloupe. He ain't going to do anything. I kind of figured A little too shady, a little too close to the locust plants. It was an experiment. Remember, I'm trying to figure out how well different spots of this garden are going to function for different things. This is my first year here. Big learning curve. I also have several melons here, which I thought would do better because they get quite a bit of sun, but they're not really doing too much yet. I've got watermelon and cantaloupe back in there. Part of it's probably that they're crowded by weeds. Part of it could be from the locust trees. And I also did get some of these out later, but I've never really been that successful with any melons, even when I had my full sun sand garden and was on top of weeds. So I don't know. Where's my pumpkin on this guy? There's a pumpkin somewhere. There you go. That'll be like a jack-o'-lantern type pumpkin. And then these are my zucchini plants, which were producing like crazy, and then kind of slowed down and stopped. But they're flowering again. A little zucchini growing there, so hopefully everybody else is sick of the zucchini. I am not. Hopefully they'll have more soon. There's another pumpkin. I wonder what, I thought that was my winter luxury pumpkin, but he's turning orange, so that's not right. Okay. Everything's a mess. You can see I really need to weed in here because I don't want to step on the vines of my vining plants and kill anything that's important. But I got at least 2 pumpkins, to be determined what types they are. I got a lot of weeds. If anybody wants weeds, come dig your own for free. Never-ending supply. This side of my tomato trellis thing here is not as nice as the other side, mostly because I keep running out of baling twine. Max! He don't care. He's like, don't worry about me, Mom. But I keep running out of baling twine, so I haven't had enough to get it all tied up. So as I get more, I'm kind of working my way this way and tying it up more. I'm keeping a close eye on the tomatoes in the rain today because I had some that were kind of on the verge of being ready and they might start splitting. I know a lot of people will harvest their tomatoes at what's called like the breaker stage, which they're not completely ripe because they're worried about the splitting, and they'll ripen just fine in the house. I don't mind them splitting. I'm out here enough that I can catch them before they rot, and I don't, knock on wood, seem to have any problems with pests going after them once they're ripe, so I just leave them out here until I'm ready. This patch would be my greatest garden fail maybe ever. I had planted 300 onions in here. I kept it weeded. It looked good. I don't know what happened. I was pulling weeds the other day, even trying to find where the onions were. I can't find them. I think somehow they all died back. And yeah. So it would be sadder if they were nice looking onions, but they were pretty shrimpy looking, and I was just going to run them through my food processor anyways, because I am the worst onion grower in the history of forever. So Michelle successfully growing onions, that's a to be continued. We'll see if that ever happens or not. But that's pretty much how the garden's doing. It's weedy, it's muddy, it needs a lot of work. I've been having the kids helping me pull weeds, and they love collecting the tomatoes and the summer squash and the zucchini. That's like their daily job. They eat all of my little cherry tomatoes, but mainly I just need to get caught back up on everything. And I'm sure I'll just get caught back up and then get busy again, and I'll look like this shortly again. But yeah, now that I am soaking wet and can barely see, thanks to these glasses, that's how the garden's looking, how the jungle is looking. As always, I produce a lot of weeds and a lot of food. So as long as I'm still getting food out of it, I'm happy. It's definitely not the most beautiful garden to look at, but oh well. Thanks for stopping in, and maybe I will get this cleaned up a little bit in the next couple days and give you guys a nicer tour where you can see between all the weeds.